Well, everybody who's sitting here, you made the right choice, because you're going to get the real story here today. Okay, and you made even better choice, because I have a big giveaway today for you guys. So why your smart card project is doomed to fail and what you can do better about it. So who am I to talk about it? Who are we to talk about it? We actually have 140 stores live with smart cards. We have about 5,500 on the shop floor as we speak. We've run more than €1 billion through the system, 500 million just last year. And with 17 million, we're going to break 25 million shopping sessions this year. So that's the real deal. And I may not be wearing, a nice suit and have fluffy PowerPoints and nice words, but I've done the job. And there's a big difference, and I can talk to that. And even better, I will ask one question, and if anybody in the room today gets this right, I will give away a big prize. And I was thinking about taking a gold bar, but then I thought when I throw it into the audience, the gold bar, then I may hurt somebody, I get sued, so I had to settle for gold bears. Okay, so not a gold bar, but you get a gold bear. So bear in mind, one question if you get it right. So who are we? My name is Frank Heinrich, I'm the founder, still CEO and minority shareholder still about the software company Pentland Firth. We're about 60 highly motivated individuals around 3 German offices or so. And I said the Easy Shopper, and that's the name of our solution, is the brand that we own, that we've built this from scratch up. And I will talk about our journey, what we did from 7-8 years ago until today, and some of the pitfalls that we have encountered, and why I think that we can talk to that subject, and I can talk to that subject. Okay, I can only skip through all this, obviously. I mean, this is a really, really complex matter and a really, really complex subject, and we have made our fair share of errors, obviously. And I can talk only about a few ones, but our booth is not far away. I will show you the location in a minute so that you can then pass by, and I'm more than happy to give you the deep dive. So on this slide that you have in front of you, there's actually 4 smart shopping projects that have failed, and the one on the bottom right is from IBM. It's actually more than 10 years ago. And if IBM did it, they did it right. They did it right from the hardware, from the software, from the maintenance and everything. If IBM did it, they did it right, and they still didn't get it into the market. Well, we got it. We have 140 stores live, so where's the difference? The first question you got to ask yourself, obviously, and it's a very simple question, is if you yourself come to a supermarket and you have a dumb card and you have a smart card, why should you be using the smart card? Why should it be relevant to you? What's the value add that you have? And of course, when we started years ago with our journey, then we had all those fluffy ideas as well that people may have, and we probably have built 30% of that, and 70% we haven't. But if we come back to our clients today and ask, why are you using the Easy Shopper? There's 2 things that tell us. The first one is, and it's very basic, and sometimes as simple as this. Okay, I don't have to touch my goods more than once. I take them out of the shelf, I scan them, I put them into my shopping bag, and I'm done. And then, obviously, the second one is I don't have to wait in line at the checkout. If I have in the app, I have my credit card, I can pay while I go through the checkout zone, I go to my car, and then I take my bag and I slide it into the trunk of my car, and I'm done. And that's it. That's the basic need of our customer, and not some fluffy things. And then the second thing is, if you're standing there, what makes you approach this smart shopper? I mean, why should you at that very moment? So the smart shoppers are there, and why should you go and touch it? Well, I can tell you, people will not just do it. They will not just go and try it because they have time to waste with some technology they want to try. You will need people. So at every store that we start, we have a rollout team that will be there for the first weeks and help people, get them close, give them a certain incentive. Typically, it's just a bag, honestly, that you have to give to your clients to use it. And once you have reached a certain threshold, I'm talking about 20%, of the revenue of the store, then your customers will be actually approaching other customers, the customers that are not using the smart shopper yet. They will approach the customers that are using the smart shoppers and will ask them, how does it work? And then your customers, the smart shopper customers, will become actually ambassadors. So second thing is, and man, all the people that were sitting here 10 minutes ago, they should have stayed. Yeah, trying to kill it with tech. So I have 3 examples here on that slide, and this is the magic question will come up in a minute. Anybody knows 𝐬𝐵𝐭? What happened to 𝐬𝐵𝐭? Okay, they're actually called 𝐬𝐵.ai. I met them about 3 years ago in New York, and they said we do everything via computer vision. And scanning is something of the past. You just put your stuff into the cart, we know what's happening, and then you leave the store. It's brilliant. It's all great. Then they got 10 million in funding, and they were sold, I think, 1.5 years for $350 million to Instacart in the US. You gotta love the US. And I just have to raise my hat, You got a little bit of a solution, you raise 10 million, and then, a year later you sell it for 350. Gotta love the United States. So here, question coming up, and I don't know if you can help me with the mouse a little bit, but if you look at the 𝐬𝐫𝐭 card, there's a small dot there up there, and this is the camera. And they have a standard card, and then they have this contraption going around the card. If you look at the card, there's something front, there's something on the side. Why did they do that? And again, a gold bear is to be had. Anybody? Yes? The background is too complicated. You know what? That's 80% correct. I'm going to throw now, okay? So be careful. All right. Hey, we haven't trained this in the past. Thanks. Okay. Just imagine for a moment you are actually the camera. So here's the iPad, you're the camera, and you're looking down into the card, and you're like the computer vision system, right? And then your customer takes the card and goes along the aisle, moves over to the shelf, and then the camera all of a sudden on the right-hand side sees the contents of the shelf. And you know what the camera does? It thinks it's inside the card. And it adds things from the shelf to the cart. And why do I know that stuff like this happens? Because it has happened to us. We actually were scanning barcodes that were printed onto the shop floor with a promotion, and we were trying to add it to the cart automatically. And we had, with our initial stages of our cards, we had to have a wraparound as well to block the vision of the camera. And this is why the first item on the slide is actually, the devil is in the details. And this is just one of the details that I'm talking about. Then, of course, and the lower card that you have on the slide is Amazon. And I talked to Amazon just last month in New York. And you know what? Amazon gave up on AI and computer vision. They're scanning now with their Amazon Dash card. You know what? If Amazon cannot do it, I'm not so bold to say that I'm going to be better and smarter than Amazon. For every million that I can spend, they can spend $1 billion. And they gave up on it. That should tell you something about it. It is not that easy. So, and then there's the thing, if you put all this technology into your card, you need the processing power, and maybe you get the model right and all that, and then you need a lot of battery. And then the card becomes heavy. And if you're talking about a store with 40,000 SKUs, for example, you have, at least in the stores that we're dealing with, you have a turnover of maybe 10,000 per quarter where the shape, the outer shape of the product changes. You know what that means when we're talking about AI? You have to recalculate your model. With every damn change, and if you have 10,000 changes in 3 months, how often are you going to recalculate? How much crunching power do you need? So you got to do this up in the cloud, and then you got to pump it out onto your card and make sure the card can consume it. Okay, so the next step is, if the card isn't strong enough to do that, then bring it outside the card. For example, put it up at the ceiling. And on the left-hand side, this is an actual store in Munich that I've tried myself, and I've seen presentations where people claim that they have 98% accuracy in the shopping experience. My personal experience was 70% accuracy. We had 10 items that we bought. We had 2 more items in the shopping cart in the end, or when we walked out on the bill, they were not there, and 1 was not recognized. So let's assume you get all the hardware together, you get the computer vision, the model, and you got it all worked out and all that done or something like that. How much is it going to cost you? And then you have 1,000 or 2,000 supermarkets, and you put like 200-300 cameras in each, then you have 200,000-300,000, 500,000 of IoT devices up there. Have you talked to your IT department if they want to deal with that? I'm not so sure. So, next problem, and I'm just going to go very briefly about it. If you have the tech under control, then the question is, how good is your master data? And again, I'm going to do this very briefly because I have only 15 minutes, and it's very difficult to do this in 15 minutes or so. But just one of the examples up there, there's 2 barcodes on there, for example. And one barcode is obviously that contains the master data, and one barcode contains the product information. So this is one of the problems that we were facing ourselves. How do you tell the customer that he has to scan the one product or the other? And how does the checkout lady or checkout man do that? They just put the thumb over the wrong barcode and then, to scan the proper one. And we had to learn that a checkout person at a cashier is a very fault-tolerant system. And they deal with a lot of problems, and they solve it on the spot. And of course, never ever in any supermarket have I seen a printout that is sticking at the cash register and where they're being told, if this problem happens, just scan that barcode, and then the problem is being fixed. Well, good luck with automating all that. So, third item, you got your tech under control, you got your master data under control, then you have the customer coming into play, right? And of course, the customer will comply. I can tell you, as I said, we have 140 stores live, the customers do everything. And they never, ever do anything the way you want it. And this is Germany. This is one of the most behaved countries on the planet. Right? So Ricardo, you're here, we just talked about it. Brazil, people are very relaxed and so on. They put things in there, take it out again, and they change their mind. He just told me this morning, They change their mind on the spot, and then they put things in the cash. It's just part of their shopping behavior. It's the normal thing to do, right? He's nodding or so. Yeah? So expect your customers not to do with what you expect them to do. And if you have an approach that is only on scale-based, scanning on scale-based, so just look at the examples, right? They bring one child, two children, they put them into the cart, onto the cart, outside, they get in, out, they start drinking stuff, they take a carton of milk, they start drinking, they close it, they put it back in there. Good luck with doing all that automated. So here's a couple of other examples. You know what? You wouldn't believe it. The cart was built so you can put your drinks underneath and on top. And then somebody goes and has like 4 or 5 crates, and it's, he can't even see properly anymore. And you wouldn't believe it if I tell you, this picture was actually taken the 2nd week in a row. The very same thing happened to the very same client the previous week. And we thought that the client would have learned the lesson. Well, obviously it didn't, and we had to change the design of the cart because it was obviously our fault. But I can top that even. Okay. Then you may have clients. They come to you, they take the freebie, the bag, to use the smart shopper, and then they go shopping. And what do they do with that? They take not the shopping cart, at least. Okay, well, we had a shopping cart swimming in the Weser River, that we had, yeah. But they take you back and bring it up on the roof on a demonstration because they think that's how they're going to save the world. This is the kind of clients you have to deal with. You know what? I used to work at Disney in the 80s, and there was a very important sentence there. It is not required to bring your brain to enter Disney. It is required to bring your wallet. And I do like this approach. Okay? There's just some nasty clients out there, some stupid, there's just some forgetful clients. So how did we do it? How did we get to 500 million in revenue through the system last year in 140 stores? Well, first of all, we started out with, on the top left, we built out a supermarket in our own offices in Munich. We built an MVP there, and then we actually moved into a supermarket of the 𝐬𝐸𝐾𝐬 Minden Hannover region. And that's the picture on the lower left-hand side. And this was a room, I don't know, 20 square meters, no windows, no ventilation. And we lived and ate and vegetated in that room for 2 years. And we had our own people sitting at the checkout. And our people were carrying radios. And if there was a problem at the checkout or something, somebody from the software team would run out there and try to solve the problem at the checkout. We did that for 2 years until we got it right. Yeah, there's people getting excited back there. We built our own hardware out, and that was not only the wireless LAN, there was the cart, and the center picture on top is actually the 5th generation of the cart, and we built up with a strong partner, Pyramid/Fatec, they have a booth here as well. We built out a factory in China, and the factory, and this is the last slide and I'm going to close, is now capable. And this actually, sorry, this is a 5 or 6 iteration that we went through, including the ones, where people drop the drinks at the end of the shopping session. And this is what the factory looks today, from our very humble, very modest beginnings 7 years ago. Now there's a factory that can pump out hundreds and thousands of carts and puts them into container. And of course, we never had a problem with chips or whatever it is, and we didn't have a problem with the Ukraine war, and because we couldn't bring the containers via rail through the Ukraine anymore. Then we put them on the ships, and then we had to fly them because we had to supply the supermarkets. And then it all, of course, broke down, and then we ended up in September last year with 20 containers arriving at the same time, and then we had the problem that we had like 3,000 carts standing around and what not to do. So sorry, I think I'm exhausted. My 15 minutes almost. Yeah, actually I have 14.
No, we started late.
That's fine. So what have we accomplished? And this is actual numbers, and this is not fluffy marketing numbers, so that we can back up. And our top supermarkets, we have 45% market share. You should ask if other people make presentations if they're willing to share that number. We are. I just heard in another presentation that there's double-digit uplift. We've seen that ourselves. So this is true. That I believe. We have improved the checkout performance by 300% because we have dedicated checkout lines for Easy Shopper. We have this hybrid approach. We have the old cash registers alongside with the Easy Shopper checkout lines. But every Easy Shopper checkout line, if you want to pay by cash, because Germany is still largely a cash-based society or so, you can use every Easy Shopper checkout has 4 times the performance of a regular checkout. And the 80% first-time loyalty customer is actually way too low. It should be much higher. This is people including that lose their loyalty card and their cell phones or whatever that is, and then for them they're new customers. So I would think it's more above 90%. So thank you very much for your attention. I know I spoke very fast. Congratulations on your gold bears. And if you have more detailed questions, as we've been there, done that, all that, you can visit us. What is it, 50 meters, 30 meters down the road on the right-hand side. And sorry, not for girls who are not wearing any green shirts. So we are the green guys, the easy shopper, the green guys. Thank you for your attention.
Thanks a lot, Frank. Excellent presentation. And very honest presentation. You showed also pictures which are not so pleasant.
Yeah, we fucked up many times. You know, fail often, fail fast. This is what this is all about.
I have a question for you before I open for questions and answers to the audience. Now that you're majority owned by Edeka Minden Hannover, also by one cooperative of Edeka Group, I guess you would like to sell this also to other retailers. This is why you are at Euroshop.
Exactly.
Have you got already clients outside of the Edeka Group?
Yes, we have a few clients that we are talking to right now that we will set up pilot stores this year, mainly in North America. I don't want to disclose the names because I haven't asked them. Yeah. But we are actually we are more than happy to operate, you know, with other clients inside Germany, outside Germany, North America. Actually, we talked to a client in New York from Australia, so I'm looking forward to going to Australia. Yeah.
And another a little bit personal question for you. How do you feel with have so many competition with things like this in the Edeka Group? Because we know there are other similar, not identical solutions around in Edeka Group. How is that for you?
I think it's a good thing because it keeps, you know, if you will, the edge, you know, so that it just drives you to innovate and make your product better and faster and all that. And it's also a good thing for you because we're certainly now more open to other retailers than we were in the past.
Yeah, so. Makes sense. So I open for questions from the audience, ladies and gentlemen. Now is your opportunity. Don't be shy. I know you have questions. Was he so precise that everything is clear?
Nobody is interested in shrinkage? No, I guess not.
Yeah, shrinkage is a good question. Now that you mention it.
That's usually the question.
Yeah, ask yourself a question. What is with shrinkage? Because that is obviously the most asked question by retailers if it comes to solutions, self-scanning, self-checkout solutions. They always ask, what does it mean for theft for my shrinkage rate?
Yeah. And I'm surprised that question didn't come up because that's the first question we always get. Shrinkage is a problem. And if somebody tells you that it's not a problem, then he or she is lying. Shrinkage is a problem. There's no question about it. We, in the stores where we have the Easy Shopper, we don't see more or less shrinkage. So I'm not promising you we're going to reduce the amount of shrinkage, but as I'm telling you, it's not going to get worse. And our approach to it is we make it personalized. So you have to log in, we know who you are, and this keeps the people honest. That doesn't mean your employees will steal from you. I haven't said that. Of course, nobody at Edeka is stealing from Edeka, right? So shrinkage is at the levels or slightly below the levels that you would have today. And the good news is from anybody who's not from Germany here today, we had a very effective system that the data privacy lost and shut us down. It was called from the soccer, from football, right? It was the red and yellow card system because we do check you after the fact. 99.9% of the customers are honest, and we don't want to, make the shopping experience unpleasant. So we try to catch the 0.1% that actually stealing from us. And we do this after the fact, and once we catch you, then in Germany, we used to mark you with a yellow card on the first try, with a red card on the second try, and the third time we would exclude you from the system. And then you cannot log into the Easy Shopper anymore, but you're going to go to the competition and steal there, and that's what we really want. Don't quote me.
Any question? Last chance? Last opportunity to ask a question?
What does it cost?
To Frank? They can ask you that at your stand. Because I think you will have. It depends on the size of the retail company, what it costs. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you very much, Frank. Give him a last applause, please.
Okay.
And visit him at his stand.
Yes, 50 meters this direction. Thank you.